Alrighty, guys. This is for your homework for the first day of studying for the final. What I want to do is walk you through how you do stuff. I'm not going to walk you through why. That isn't what the point of this is going to be. It's just a quick review of how you do these. Okay, first thing, you want to convert to degrees. You're going to multiply by a fraction. That would be, I want degrees, so that's going to be on top. It's supposed to be 180, and pi on the bottom. Cancel this out, type it in your calculator, reduce it, see what you get. There you go. This one you're converting 2.5 radians. So you have 2.5 radians times, instead of 180 over pi, oh, sorry, it is. Both these are in radians. Never mind, you're multiplying by the same thing. Trying to rush and making mistakes. So type this in your calculator, see what you get. Turns out it's the 143. All right. Convert to degrees, same thing. You're going to multiply by exactly the same thing, so I'm not even going to write it. Here, convert 240 degrees. That's when you're multiplying by the reciprocal of this. It's the other way around. I want radians, so this is what you're going to multiply by. I think you don't type the pi in. I think you leave it alone, like they did here. They just let pi be pi. So you type in your calculator 240 over 180. Notice the degree symbols cancel. Zeros cancel. Reduce this. What's it look like? A 6 goes into both, so 4/3. The pi value is still there, and there you go. Okay. You can do all that right on your calculator. Just go 240 divided by 180. Math. Enter. Enter. And it gives you 4/3. But I think you guys are more capable than just type it in your calculator. Okay. The definition of radians is theta is equal to s over r. In order to use this, this has to be an angle that you're measuring in radians. You can't fill in an answer that's in degrees. Like in this one down here, you can't fill in 53 degrees. For this one, you want to find the angle theta with a radius of 16 and an arc that's 19 inches. That's S. This is R. So theta is equal to, heck of a theta, theta, nice looking theta, is 19.36 inches over 16 inches. Those inches cancel out. Type this in your calculator. That's going to be an answer in radians. Notice all of these answers are in degrees. Okay. If memory serves me correctly, this answer comes out to 1.21 radians. But all your choices are degrees. And just like up here, you converted from radians, degrees, and degrees to radians. So you have to convert it only because it's multiple choice and they're giving you all your answers in degrees. Okay, so normally you would be finished. You'd say theta is 1.21 radians. Done. But that's not a choice. So you have to convert. The arc length, notice here, is the long way around. It's not this arc here. You can't use 53 degrees because that represents the short distance here, the short arc. You need to then cut it off at 360 and use this. So theta equals S over R, same thing again. I can't fill degrees into this. So 360 degrees minus 53 degrees is some number. You have to convert that number into radians by doing what you did up above and multiplying by pi over 180 degrees, get an answer, then you can fill that in right here. Then it's looking for the arc length, whatever that number is, equals S, that's what you're looking for, over your radius, 4.5 inches. Okay, cross multiply, and you got it. I think that's the last one. Oh, no, a bicycle wheel with an 18-inch diameter rotates 120 degrees. What is the distance the bicycle travel? You can use theta equals S over R. You're looking for the distance the bicycle has traveled is if your bicycle wheel is sitting here on the ground and it rolls forward, so the angle rotates 120 degrees, it's asking essentially, that was 120 degrees, what is the length of that arc? All right? I can't fill in 120 degrees here, but you guys know from the unit circle, 120 degrees is 2 pi over 3, so you'd use 2 pi over 3 into this formula. How long did it roll? 18 inches. Cross multiply, solve for S, you're done. Okay, 15 degrees. Again, you can't use 15 degrees. pi over 6 is 30, so half of that would be pi over 12. That's what you could use here. Arc length of 23, fill out theta is equal to S over R. Away you go. Same thing, can't use 45. Pi over 4, fill it in, away you go. All right, switching gears now, different topics then. Find the exact values of the 6 trig functions when t equals negative 5 pi over 6. That t is the same thing as theta, you guys. So if t is bugging you, that's just your angle. Okay, positive 5 pi over 6 is the same thing as 150 degrees. I'm trying to orient you guys where you're at. So this is 30 degrees short of 180, or pi over 6 short of being at pi. This is negative 5 pi over 6. So you're hanging out right there. This is the same thing as 7 pi over 6. He wants to know the 6 trig functions. Or remember, sine on the unit circle is your y, cosine is your x, tangent is your y over your x. Remember, for the cofunctions, you're going to take the reciprocals, and you have to know the coordinate. What's the y value at that point? What's the x value? What's the y over x? And so on. So it's just a unit circle question. Give the exact value of negative. It's just a unit circle question, you guys. Okay, that's all it is. Same thing here. Unit circle question. Unit circle question. Okay, these are all just unit circle questions. All right. Find the tangent of theta. So you guys got to remember the Pythagorean theorem because you need to find the length of the side. Okay, I don't really think I need to review that. I understand you may have questions about doing the Pythagorean theorem, but it's now what you need to do here. I need to do here. I need to just move you through it. All right. If you have questions on that, come and find me. Trying to find the cotangent of theta. It's the same thing. Okay, you need to do the Pythagorean theorem, find that side, give me the cotangent. Find secant. Okay, secant's related to cosine, so I would find the cosine of theta first personally, which again means I need to find that adjacent side. Once I got an answer, I would find the reciprocal of it. Okay. Okay, this is a little bit harder. Cotangent of theta is equal to 15. I personally don't like using the cofunctions. It's just a personal choice. So I'm going to turn this into, cash this into this. The tangent of theta is 15. Sorry, 1 over 15. That's your y over your x. There's no need to draw yourself a triangle. This Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared is c squared, is exactly the same thing as x squared plus y squared is equal to your radius squared. In order to figure this out, to find cosine, if you're not on the unit circle, cosine of theta is your x value over your radius, or your x value over your hypotenuse. Okay? So all you got to do is fill in x and y, solve for r, and then your x value, which is going to be 15 over your hypotenuse, whatever it is that you solve it for. Okay? All right? It's pretty easy. Then you have to rationalize it, of course, but yeah. Okay? I don't think I need to do it. SOHCAHTOA, you guys. That's all you gotta do. SOHCAHTOA. Knock it out. All right. Same thing. SOHCAHTOA. Knock out your answer. SOHCAHTOA. Same thing. SOHCAHTOA. Pythagorean identities. Okay. So, a squared plus b squared is c squared is your Pythagorean identity. I just mentioned this on the other side of the page. Okay. Your x value on the unit circle is your cosine, so cosine squared plus your y value is your sine squared. Oops, what am I doing? So I start writing the y. Okay. Yes, sine squared. And your radius on the unit circle is 1. There's the Pythagorean identity. They want to know what tangent squared is worth. Tangent is sine over cosine. So I need a sine over cosine. So I need a sine squared, in this case, over cosine. So that's the hint that you're going to divide everybody by cosine squared. So you have 1 plus tangent squared is equal to, this would be secant squared. I need to solve for tangent squared, so subtract the 1, and there it is, secant squared minus 1. Okay. Secant squared, you go back to cosine squared plus sine squared is equal to 1. I want secant squared, which is 1 over cosine squared, so that's telling you you need to divide by cosine squared. Okay, whoops, there it is right there. Whoops. Yoo-hoo. We already got it. Yikes. Okay, so there it is. Holy cow, that was painful. Sorry guys for the brain cramp. Complete the following. Cosine squared. Well, cosine squared plus, sine squared is equal to 1. Cosine squared is 1 minus sine squared. Okay. Just moving around the Pythagorean identity. Okay. All right, do not try and draw a triangle. You will drive yourself crazy. All right, we've gone just, I don't know what that's about. Cosine theta is your y, oops, I'm making mistakes all over the place. Where's my eraser? Cosine is your x value if you're on the unit circle. If you're not on the unit circle, it's your x value over your hypotenuse or your radius. This is your radius. That is your x value. So in this case, it's 7 over your radius. Well, how in the world do you find your radius? It's just the Pythagorean theorem, been mentioning it on the last several pages. There's your x value, there's your y value. 7 squared plus negative 9 squared is your radius squared. Solve for your radius, fill in that radius, and there you go. You got your cosine. Okay? Now here you're looking for tangent. You ready? It's this easy. Tangent of theta is your y value over your x value. Don't blink, because there's the answer. It happened that fast. Don't draw yourself a triangle. You will go crazy doing it, okay? Find cosecant. I would personally find sine first. Sine is your y value if you're on the unit circle. That is not on the unit circle, because that clearly that radius is not 1. Is your y value over your radius. And just like I mentioned above, find your radius by doing that. So you'd find your radius by 8 squared plus negative 7 squared is equal to your radius squared. Solve for your radius, fill it in, your y value is negative 7 over whatever you found for your radius, and you're done. Okay, sine is your y value. Y is less than 0, so the y is negative. X is less than 0, so your x is negative. Where does that occur? Third quadrant. Done. Tangent. Tangent is your y over your x less than 0. So that means either your y or your x is negative, but not both. Cosine is greater than 0, so that means your x is greater than 0. So if x is greater than 0, this means the y has got to be negative. Whoops, less than 0. Where is x positive, y negative? Quadrant 4. Tangent is negative. Okay, same idea. You don't know which one's negative, but you know one of them is. Sine, so that means your y value is greater than 0. So that means your x is less than 0. So that means you're in quadrant 2. Okay. Given this, find the tangent. Okay. Use this identity. I personally wouldn't draw a triangle. I think you guys are going to drive yourself crazy doing it. Sine, if you're not on the unit circle, and you don't know if you are or not, is negative 1/5. So that's your y over your radius. So find x, find y, find r. R is 5. Your radius is always going to be positive. Your y value is negative 1. Use this to find your x value. So you can find your cosine. Cosine is going to be your x over your radius, okay, which you already know the radius is 5. You just need to find your x value by doing the Pythagorean identity with those two numbers. Okay. Sine is 7/13. X equals, y equals, r equals. So sine is your y over your radius. So that would be 7/13 Tangent is negative, so that means y over x is less than 0. This number is positive. Your radius, so y over x is greater than, y over r is where I was going with it. Y over r is positive. R always has to be positive, so that means y has got to be positive. So if tangent is less than 0, that means your x has to be negative. And you just do the Pythagorean theorem with the 7 and the 13, solve for x, and then remember it's got to be negative. Find the tangent, you fill the numbers in. You already know the y value, so it's y over x, so it's 7 over whatever you get for your x value. And your x value is going to be negative. Okay. Solve for theta. What angle makes that true? It's got a square root of 3 in it, guys. So it's either square root of 3 over 2 1/2, or it's 1/2 over square root of 3 over 2. It's a unit circle question. Tangent is your y over your x. You fill it in. 1/2 over square root of 3 over 2 is 2 over the square root of 3. That's 1 over the square root of 3. That's going to give you this. Now, notice that it's just positive. You have to use your understanding now. How do I make this thing less than 0? Either the x or the y has to be negative. So that's either in this quadrant or this quadrant. Now, I did this one first. Is this a 30 or a 60? That's a 30, because the bigger value is the x value. So it's the 30-degree angle in this quadrant and the 30-degree angle in that quadrant. So 5 pi over 6 and 11 pi over 6. It's just a unit circle question. If you know the unit circle well, that's easy. If you still don't know the unit circle, there's nothing I can do for you guys. You gotta memorize the unit circle. Okay? Cotangent, that's x over y. They're telling you it's -1. How do you make a fraction worth, let's just say 1? The number on the top and the bottom have got to be the same. Where does that happen? It happens at multiples of 45. It's negative. Where does that happen on the unit circle? Where one of them is negative. That happens, same two quadrants. I already got it right there. Okay. So you just list the 45s that are in those two quadrants. Amplitude. It's the absolute value of the number in front. So the amplitude's 1. Amplitude, 3. Period. For sine and cosine, your period was 2 pi over b, and the pattern went y is equal to a sine b theta minus c plus d. All right? B is the coefficient on theta. Well, in this case, x, but you know what I mean. So it's 4. It's 2 pi over 4, so your period would be pi over 2. Okay? The period, b is 1/3. It's 1 over 3. And it's a cosine, so it's 2 pi over 1/3, so it's 6 pi. Okay? Last page for your homework for tonight. Find all the solutions. All right? So you have 2 cosine theta minus square root of 3 is equal to 0. Add the square root of 3, divide by 2. And then you're asking yourself, where does that happen? It's a unit circle question, you guys. There's 2 locations on the unit circle where your x value is square root of 3 over 2. This one, add the 1 over. I hate the x. Cosine theta is equal to 1. Where does that happen? It's a unit circle question. Cosecant. Cosecant theta plus 2 is equal to 0. Bring the 2 over. Take the reciprocal of both sides. So that would be sine of theta is -1/2. Where's your y value? -1/2. There's 2 places it happens. Okay, now this gets a little bit harder because your value for b is other than 1. In the ones I just did, the value of b was 1. So, where's your y value equal to 0? Y value is 0 here and here. So, 2 theta is equal to 0 and pi. So theta is equal to 0 and pi over 2. Okay? Then you have to add on its period. The period for sine and cosine is 2 pi over b. b in this case is 2, so your period is pi. You have to add pi onto these until you hit 2 pi. So that's where I'm getting 0, add it on, I get pi, add on pi again, I get 2 pi, which is beyond the limit. And then I add it on that, and I get 3 pi over 2. So there are your 4 answers that solve the question. And they said use a graphical utility to look at it. Well, there's the 0, and there's the other. Okay, now you don't include this one because it's actually at 2 pi, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Find all the solutions on this interval. Okay, add the 3, divide by 3, and you get tangent of theta is equal to 1. Well, tangent's y over x. Where is that equal to 1? Unit circle question. All the solutions this, okay, add the 1, divide by 3, so tangent squared, theta, 2 theta is equal to a third. Take the square root of both sides. Tangent of 2 theta equals plus or minus 1 over the square root of 3. You could rationalize it if you want to, but it's not your final answer, so you don't need to. You need to first start figuring out where on the unit circle, what angles generate 1 over the square root of 3. So you have square root of 3 over 2, a half, or is it a half square root of 3 over 2? And we did this earlier on a different problem, and we found out it's this. If you don't remember, y over x, so that's a half over square root of 3 over 2, multiplied by the reciprocal, 1 over the square root of 3. Now, you have to recognize that that's going to be a 30 degree, or a pi over 6. And it's all 4 pi's over 6. But that's 2 theta equals pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 7 pi over 6, and 11 pi over 6. Then you have to multiply by a half. That's where the 12s show up. Then you have to add its period on. Its period for tangent, we did sine and cosine. Sine and cosine, your period was 2 pi over b. For tangent, your period is pi over b. b is 2. So your period is pi over 2. I need to add pi over 2 onto this until I hit 2 pi. I'm dealing with 12s, so that would be 24 pi, sorry guys, that's a 4, over 12. And I'm adding pi over 2 on to 12s. So I have to add on 6 pi over 12 to these until I bump into the 24 pi over 12. Okay? It's meant to be a review, not teach it for the first time. If it feels like the first time, you got to come in and get help. Okay, that's the end of what I asked you guys to do for your homework. I believe it was 1 through 7. And that's the last one. So thanks for your time and your patience. You guys know what you've got to do for the final exam. You got your grades. You know what's going on. So do what you got to do. Make some good choices. See you tomorrow.